Yesterday, Nintendo sent out a pretty interesting survey talking about the Mario RPG different series, so Mario and Luigi, Paper Mario, as well as Super Mario RPG. So today I wanted to take a look at this survey, but also just talk about how good it feels to be a fan of Mario RPGs right now. I feel like we're really on the precipice of greatness here. Let's get into it. Hello there everyone, and welcome back to the channel. My name is Botox Games, and today we're talking about the Mario RPG, all the different series of Mario RPGs, as well as this survey. So, huge shout out to this person on Reddit, Aspheron. They're the first person that shared that they received this survey from Nintendo. Nintendo will periodically send out surveys through email to, I guess, my Nintendo account holders. But also shout out to Reese over on Twitter. He runs a great account if you're a fan of Paper Mario. He actually recreated this survey in Google Docs, so even if you didn't get sent the survey from Nintendo, you can take it for yourself and kind of just see where your answers are going to lead you, which is what we're going to be doing today, which I think is pretty interesting. I mean, we've seen in the past that Nintendo, they send out these surveys very often. All companies do this, but Nintendo, at least in the case of WarioWare specifically, I remember sometimes these surveys end up being, they end up directly correlating to something that ends up happening. If you remember WarioWare Get It Together, right before that game was announced, Nintendo put out a survey being like, would you pay $50 for a new WarioWare game on Switch? And then it was announced. We had no rumblings of a new WarioWare. So sometimes these surveys actually mean something, and they mean something imminently, which I think is interesting. Although I don't think this actually indicates something is going to happen in the very near future. It is nice to see Nintendo kind of taking feedback on Mario RPG games, because for the past 10 years or so, sticker star color splash, it's you all know the issue with the current Mario RPGs. So let's go ahead and go through the survey, and then we'll talk a little bit about the future of each individual sub-franchise. So first question, out of these options, which game is your favorite? Super Paper Mario Color Splash, Superstar Saga plus Bowser's Minions. I like that they included the remake there. Mario and Luigi Partners in Time, Mario and Luigi Bowser's Inside Story, and Mario and Luigi Dream Team. Now, here's the thing. I actually haven't played through any Mario and Luigi game all the way. I played a lot of Bowser's Inside Story as a kid. I think I might have even gotten to the final boss, but I never finished that game. So quite frankly, out of all these games, Super Paper Mario is my favorite. So when talking about the future of Mario RPGs, maybe that's not the most helpful to Nintendo, because I know a lot of people don't like what Super Paper Mario is in terms of being a core kind of RPG. I mean, it's really a platformer. Next question. Below is a list of features that is common to most games from the Paper Mario, the Mario and Luigi series, and Super Mario RPG. Which of these features do you like? Please choose up to 5 features. So this is what Nintendo puts as the options on theirs. Collecting new gear accessories to become stronger. Exploring new worlds and places, big fan of that. Funny dialogue and humorous atmosphere, big fan of that. Encountering new characters that are unlike the known characters from other Mario games. That's a very interesting one, because if you know, one of the big criticisms of modern Paper Mario is how sterile it feels, One of the big characters in Sticker Star is a Wiggler, and then Color Splash and Origami King are just a bunch of toads for the most part. So yeah, you can kind of see the opposite here with encountering familiar characters like Luigi, Peach, and Bowser. Definitely new characters. Unique graphical art style, that's the one I definitely enjoy. Using newly unlocked abilities to overcome obstacles in the overworld, following an adventure and engaging story, seeing many familiar elements from the Mario universe, including items, coins, warp pipes, defeating enemies in a turn-based combat system by choosing your next move, getting stronger by leveling up, increasing the power of your attacks or defense by pressing buttons at the right time. That's literally just, that is Mario and Luigi and Paper Mario, I guess. So I already have 3 here. I would say unique graphical art style. And then for this, I would either say following an adventure and engaging story, or defeating enemies in turn-based combat. We'll say defeating enemies in turn-based combat. Next question. The Paper Mario games, Mario and Luigi games, and Super Mario RPG usually include a variety of characters. On the one hand, completely new ones like Geno or Mallow from Super Mario RPG, but also familiar ones like Peach or Bowser. Do you generally prefer the new or the familiar characters? Which is just such a crazy thing for Nintendo to outright be asking their audience, because this really is, this is the core issue people have with modern Paper Mario, is the characters. So to see them asking this is really nice. I prefer completely new characters, easy. I do enjoy when they go back and even like Bowser's characterization and really all of these Mario RPG games is great. In fact, I would say, Bowser really has the most character in these Mario RPGs overall compared to even like other mainline Mario games. But yeah, give me completely new characters. That's so fresh. That's so exciting. That's what I want to see here. When thinking of the behavior or appearance of the familiar characters, which of these statements would you agree to the most? I prefer all characters to behave and appear like they do in other Mario games. No. I prefer the central characters to appear unique or to behave in unexpected ways. I prefer even side characters, including Toads, to appear unique or to behave in unexpected ways. I wish there was an option here that was like, I want all characters, regardless of if they're central or side, to appear or unique and or behave in unexpected ways. But I guess we'll just go with central characters behaving in unexpected ways, although I wish it would be everything, you know? The Paper Mario, Mario & Luigi games, and Super Mario RPG have offered a wide range of different battle systems and mechanics. Which of these aspects do you like the most? You may choose up to 5 aspects. Using special attacks / bros attacks with unique effects. Those are always fun. Having time to plan your next move. Always fun. A time limit that forces you to think fast about the course of action. I can pass on that. A turn-based combat system, yes. A real-time combat system like in Super Paper Mario, no. I'll pass on that. Collecting one-time usable attack items like stickers in the overworld and using these in battle. That's so funny to see them say. I'm not going to tick that one off there. Using items like mushrooms or fire flowers, those are fine. Solving a little puzzle at the beginning of the battle like in Origami King, absolutely not. I think Origami King has the worst battle system of any Mario RPG. Companions fighting alongside Mario, absolutely. Mario fighting alone, increasing the power of your attacks or your defense by pressing buttons at the right time. I mean, I do like the active time battle stuff in Paper Mario and Mario & Luigi. Filling a gauge with precise inputs and using powerful moves or attacks when it's full. How many do I have? I have 5. Yeah, I think I'll go with these for my 5 for that. And that is the survey. So I'll submit that so Reese, you can see it. But yeah, I just think it's really interesting that Nintendo is sending out a survey like this, asking these very specific questions, and it shows that they do listen. Whether or not we end up getting, you know, a new Paper Mario game that has new partners or a new Mario & Luigi game remains to be seen, and we'll talk about that more in a second. Just the fact that they're even putting a survey like this out shows that they are listening and taking that fan feedback more seriously now than they have been. I mean, I think this might be the first official mention of Mario & Luigi from Nintendo since Bowser's Inside Story came out on 3DS, which was like, what, 5 years ago at this point? So it's been a while since we've really seen them mention Mario & Luigi. And of course, this is just a survey, but it's still nice to see. Now, I do want to talk about the future of these games and kind of reflect a little bit here because Super Mario RPG was so dang good last year. That was my first time playing that game, and I really enjoyed it. And I'll say this, right, if you've been following me for a while, I've actually been kind of a defender of modern Paper Mario to an extent. I think Color Splash is a very fun game. I even enjoyed Sticker Star when I was younger, although, of course, acknowledging that they're very different games from what Paper Mario was with, 64 and Thousand-Year Door. They're very different games, but I still enjoyed them. But playing Super Mario RPG, that game really kind of flicked a switch in my brain, I guess, and I realize now what people really see in a classical Mario RPG kind of game with partners, with unique characters. Mallow, especially, really carries Mario RPG for me. And I'm not saying that the game needs to be carried, but Mallow is so good. Mallow is the main character of that game. And, before I played it, I didn't really see people talk about Mallow that much. They always talked about Geno, and Geno was great as well. But, having these unique characters adds so much to the world and story of each Mario RPG game that I really hope we see a new Paper Mario and a new Mario & Luigi and even a new Super Mario RPG that kind of keeps expanding it and adds more and more unique characters. So let's go through these one by one, I guess starting with Super Mario RPG because we just had the remake back in November. I do think we will get a new Super Mario RPG game. We haven't had updated sales numbers since December 31st, but we know that it was on track to becoming the best-selling Mario RPG game in Japan, and I wouldn't be that shocked if, not counting Super Paper Mario on the Wii, I wouldn't be that shocked if it ends up being the best-selling Mario RPG game. That is, of course, in part due to the Switch effect, but also it just goes to show the quality of the game and how thirsty people were for a new Mario RPG game, or not a new one, but, a high-quality one at the very least, that realistically most people hadn't played before it came out on Switch. So, Super Mario RPG 2, I think, whether they get a new developer for it, whether or not they let Art Piazza kind of take the creative reins on a sequel, we'll have to wait and see what they do. But with the success of that game, I wouldn't be shocked if they make a sequel that looks identical. It can be in the same art style, it can be in that same graphical style and have basically the same gameplay. You can bring back Gino and Mallow. I know Gino, there's some story stuff there, but it'll work out. Yeah, I could totally see a scenario where it comes back. I could see a scenario where it doesn't come back as well, but I wouldn't be shocked if Super Mario RPG 2 ends up happening within the next, we'll say 6 years. That gives them plenty of time. It would definitely be a Switch 2 game if it does happen at this point, but it wouldn't shock me. And what about Paper Mario? Well, we have Origami King on the Switch, and we're getting Thousand-Year Door in just a little over a month. This one's interesting because part of me thinks that we might end up getting you know, I want to say traditional, but it's almost become traditional. Part of me thinks that we might end up getting a more Origami King style Paper Mario game next. Obviously, once again, that would be a Switch 2 game. Because maybe Thousand-Year Door is like them throwing the classic Paper Mario fans a bone before we get another Origami King Color Splash type of game. But on the other hand, maybe Intelligent Systems hasn't even started working on that yet, and they really will base what they end up doing with a sequel to Origami King. Maybe they'll base what they do on the sales of Thousand-Year Door, and if that game sells well, it'd be kind of tone deaf for them to not follow up with a more traditional Paper Mario game with unique partners and more traditional battle mechanics with turn-based combat and all that. It really would be odd if this game comes out, it sells super well, which based on Super Mario RPG and based on how kind of light the Switch lineup is in general this year, I feel like Thousand-Year Door Remake is going to sell very well. That's just a prediction. I could end up being wrong. I don't know if it'll sell better than Origami King because that game has had, 4 years to sell at this point, but I do think Thousand-Year Door Remake will do pretty damn well for Nintendo. And if that is the case, then yeah, it really would be tone deaf to not make a follow-up in that style versus an Origami King kind of game. I could also see them porting Color Splash and Super Paper Mario. In fact, I actually made a video like a year or two ago talking about how I thought the next game would be Super Paper Mario back when we were talking about a remake of a Paper Mario game. Super Paper Mario, best-selling game in the series. It's very unique in its gameplay, which I feel like Nintendo kind of likes to have. When they do multiple games in the same franchise on a platform, they usually like to have something that kind of separates them. I guess Thousand-Year Door and Origami King are different enough, but like, let's say on Switch 2 we get a new Thousand-Year Door game, or, a game in that style. I could totally see a scenario where we get, a Thousand-Year Door successor, but also a Super Paper Mario remake or something, just to kind of have those two different gameplay styles represented on the Nintendo Switch. But either way, even just the fact that they're remaking Thousand-Year Door is a good sign, and, maybe if this does well, we get a remake of 64. That would be awesome to see as well, and then eventually, they're going to have to make a new one, so that'll be a very interesting day on social media. And then finally, we have to discuss Mario and Luigi. This one is the most interesting, and it's the most exciting that they mentioned it in this survey. I think Mario and Luigi will come back. I think it's going to be longer than people are expecting based on this. Like, I've seen a lot of people saying, like, oh, Mario and Luigi is going to come out in, like, the first year of the Switch 2. I don't think so. I could see this taking another 4 or 5 years. It really just depends on who's making it. Have they already started? Has Nintendo identified a studio that can make Mario and Luigi? Because Alpha Dream is gone. The studio that makes Mario and Luigi is gone. Now, I believe a lot of that staff have moved on to other developers. I can't remember the developer's name, but there was a developer that took a lot of Alpha Dream staff in after they went bankrupt, I believe. So I do think we'll get a Mario and Luigi kind of revival. The question would be, would that be a new game or would they go for a remake? Because they already remade Superstar Saga and Bowser's Inside Story, the two most popular games, on the 3DS. And most of those games were made with a dual screen in mind, which would make bringing some of them back a little bit more difficult. Now, if the Switch 2 does have 2 screens, which I know is a long shot, but I have been talking about that quite a bit, then there's really no issue. They could just bring all these games back. Nintendo hasn't really gotten to the point yet where they're remaking games that have already been remade, but I do think we would probably see Superstar Saga remade first. I know that sounds crazy to say because we just got Superstar Saga plus Bowser's Minions on the 3DS, but that really was 7 years ago, and by the time that, we're talking about here, the timeline here, it would probably be like 2027 that we get this, I would say, on Switch 2, so that's 10 years. I think that's fine, and if they are going to get a new developer to do it, which they pretty much have to, having them remake an old game first before giving them creative reins on a new game, I just think makes a lot of sense. hopefully that's what they're doing with Art Piazza and Super Mario RPG, so I could see them doing a similar thing for Mario and Luigi. But yeah, given the success of SMRPG, as well as hopefully the success of Thousand-Year Door, I think it's pretty likely we could see a Mario and Luigi revival within the next console generation. Regardless, it is a very exciting time to be a fan of Mario RPGs. I am super excited to play through a Thousand-Year Door again on the Nintendo Switch. I actually never finished that game. I played it a lot as a kid, but I never actually rolled credits, so I'm excited to go back through that game and experience it again as an adult, as someone who can appreciate all the bells and whistles now. I'm very excited to play through that game, and I kind of want to replay Super Paper Mario as well. I haven't played through that game in a long time, so I might try to do that before May 23rd, but regardless, let me know what you think down in the comments below. Are you optimistic for the future of Mario RPGs on Nintendo Switch, on Nintendo Switch 2? Do you think we will see a sequel to Super Mario RPG, a traditional sequel to Thousand-Year Door, and do you think we will see the revival of Mario and Luigi? I would love to get a conversation going down in the comments below. Of course, if you are new here and you enjoy Nintendo Switch news, speculation, discussions, all of that stuff, I would appreciate you subscribing. A little different, but I posted a video on Sunday talking about Dragon Quest, so very different series, but they are RPGs, so if you want to go see a new fan's perspective on Dragon Quest, I would highly appreciate you checking out that video. Of course, follow me on Twitter at BotoxGames, and until next time, folks, peace!